Welcome back, my friends. This is Pipes, Tattoos, and Conversations. I'm Tattooed Piper. How many of you love history? I love history. We all know Alan Harrelson loves history. Growing up, my dad would just tell me these stories, these military history stories. And I loved to just sit there and listen. I make fun of my dad a lot because all he talks about is military history. And I like to poke fun at him, and I like to go, in 1066, the Norman invasion of England, you know. But in all reality, I love it. I love to listen. British history has a big significance in my life, and especially British military vehicles. So when I saw this tin, I knew I had to have it. Not just for the tin art. Well, not just for the tobacco, but for the tin art. I had to. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Squadron Leader. Look at that beautiful RAF SE-5 airplane they got on the front there. Oh man, that's such amazing tin art. When you open the tin, there's a little bit more history on the inside. Gawith and Hogarth's Tobacco Company building. Look at that. Look at that drawing. That's just beautiful. I was entranced by this tin. I grew up listening to stories, World War I stories, of flying aces. Especially stories of the Red Baron, who was not English, he was German, which I know. And my dad and I actually built these little models. I think one was the Fokker DR1, and one of them was probably this RAF SE-5, but they were little wooden models, and I had them hanging above my bed, and we put them in strategic positions so it looked like they were dogfighting. It was pretty cool. We had a lot of fun, my dad and I, growing up with history. Just reminiscing. And that's something that pipes allow you to do. I'm going to put this tin down. That's something that pipes allow you to do. It allows you to take a second to just sit and relax and think and reminisce. Even if you're doing nothing. Maybe even if you're doing nothing but watching a movie. It allows you to go back. It allows you to go back in time, connect with the characters maybe in the movie, or sit and have a conversation with your dad while he is also smoking a pipe, sharing a bowl of Squadron Leader with you. And you guys get to talk about military history. Maybe what could be the future of military history. Anyway, let's get into this. I have, of course, transferred my tobacco from that beautiful tin to my mason jar. I'm going to get the tin note for you on this, because to me, this is the quintessential English blend. Man, I can just smell that Latakia. I can just smell that Latakia right off the cuff. The smoky campfire. There's also a subtle, like a subtle lemongrass note. Especially if you breathe in really hard. It's kind of like a little lemongrass. And then if you breathe in slow, you definitely get a little bit of like an earthy, musty kind of smell. But mainly campfire and lemongrass is what I get from this. Let me read you the tin description on the back of this. And I will try to do my best English accent. An evenly balanced composition of Latakias, Orientals, and Virginia leaf make up this iconic blend. I don't know if that was any good or not. I'll have to go back and watch. But yes, you can definitely smell the Oriental in this once you get past that campfire note. Oh man, that smells really good. This is increasingly becoming one of my favorite blends, if not my favorite blend. I'm smoking today out of my Peterson system pipe. I believe this is a 312. I did not look at this before. Yep, it's a 312 system standard. One of my favorite pipes. I love this. This full bend system pipe is just amazing, and it smokes really well. It also has the Peterson P-lip tip, and it blows the smoke to the roof of your mouth instead of directly on your tongue. I'm not really sure I like it any more or less than a standard tip or a fishtail or anything like that, but it's nice to have different styles of smoking pipes in your collection. Let's see how this bad boy lights up. Oh man, that's good. That is good. On that chart light, you get a little campfire and a lot of Oriental. Oh yeah, that sweet lemongrass is coming through on this initial light. Can't see what I'm doing, but I'm tamping here. Now, I did not give this any time to dry before I packed it, but as you can see, it sticks together really good. And they're really long ribbons. And I would encourage you to pull it out, let it dry for about 10 minutes, and kind of pull those ribbons apart. What I did for this review was I was trying something new, and I don't like it because it's not staying lit like I wanted. I pulled it straight out of the tin and just kind of stuffed it in, kind of like when you pull in a rope or something and you just kind of keep stuffing it in and more is following and more is following. That's pretty much what I did. I don't recommend that because I don't like it, but this has an amazing flavor. So once you smoke Latakia blends for a while, you will get past that campfire flavor. When you first start, campfire is all you're gonna taste. And that's exactly what happened with this blend. I instantly started off campfire. And I still taste it. But it's more subdued. It's more in the back. And those Orientals are coming forward. There's a little spice. Not too much, but a little spice. Lemongrass. And earth. But not just any earth, though. More like a dew-kissed grass flavor. Like when you wake up in the morning and you walk out and you smell that dew-kissed grass in the morning. It's a little crisp outside. That's what you're getting. It's very, very good. Now, I've smoked this enough to know that as you get down, the Virginias come out a little bit more as you get closer to the bottom, and you get more of the grassy, sweet note. But when you first light it up, it's definitely the smoky campfire and that Oriental sweet, spicy lemongrass is kind of coming out. So, growing up, my grandparents were Catholic. My parents were Protestant. So every Christmas, we would go to Catholic Mass with my grandmother. She is huge into family. For her, family was everything. And you know how, I don't know if any of you have ever been to Catholic Mass, especially on Christmas, where they would do the incense on the, I don't know what it's called, the little incense burner on the chain, and they would wave the incense. You get a little bit of that in this. The spicy, sweet note. It's extremely pleasant on the palate. Let me tell you, this is the quintessential English blend. Very, very good. Very strong. Not very strong, but like a little bit higher on the strength scale. As you smoke it, though, you're not going to get a huge nicotine hit. At least I don't off of this. Most Latakia blends you don't, because the nicotine is more burned off the leaf in the smoking process of the Latakia. This is what I imagine it would have been like to be an Englishman in World War I. If he was able to have his pipe, maybe just a English ace sitting there, getting ready for the day's upcoming runs. It's early in the morning, 5 a.m. Sun's just starting to kind of come up over the horizon. Airplanes haven't been fired off yet. People are just kind of starting to move around and wake up and have their morning cup of tea. And he's just sitting there, just thinking about the mission, planning ahead. Maybe he is a squadron leader and he's knows that he has these men that he has to bring back with him, and he has to keep them safe during this mission. So he's got that he's thinking about, wondering how best to go about this. Maybe it's the end of the day. Maybe he's already flown the mission, and now he's sitting back at HQ, relishing in the victory. Reliving those moments. I encourage everybody to study history. Maybe if we did, maybe if we actually sat down and read books, and studied, and looked at history, and looked at what has caused the world to be the way it is now, the world that we live in. Maybe colleges would take a different approach on education and how they teach. Now, I don't want to get too political on here. But I do believe that those who don't study history are destined to repeat it. So I encourage you, take some time out of your day. Read an article, not a Facebook article, but an actual article from a real reporter. Take a little time to study your country's history. It's funny when you watch those videos of the guys that go around and they ask people questions like, when was the Revolutionary War? And they go, 1912? How are you supposed to know the country you're living in if you haven't studied it? How are you supposed to know where this country is going if you don't know where we've been? Take time. Don't let your political and religious views be boiled down to one or two sentences. Don't let yourself get caught up in believing what your friend group believes. Think for yourself. Vote for yourself. Until next time, I'm Tattooed Piper. Cheers.